The Indiana Fever, they announced Sophie Cunningham's availability for their May 22nd rematch against the Atlanta Dream. The 28-year-old guard's return sparked immediate excitement across social media platforms and among basketball analysts. Cunningham had been sidelined since sustaining a right ankle injury during a May 10th preseason game against the same Atlanta team she faced upon her return. The Fever acquired Cunningham through a February 4-team trade involving the Phoenix Mercury, Dallas Wings, and Connecticut Sun. This blockbuster deal positioned the Fever as championship contenders for the 2025 WNBA season. Cunningham spent 6 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury after being drafted 13th overall in 2019, establishing herself as a reliable defensive player and three-point threat. Cunningham stunned fans when she revealed the true extent of her injury through a social media post on May 21st. She shared a video showing her pregame outfit for the Fever's May 20th game against Atlanta, captioning it, "Probs shouldn't have worn heels with a broken ankle, but beauty is pain." Fan reactions flooded social media immediately. One fan questioned, "It's broken." Another wrote, "No, I've been watching Fever games hoping you will play." A third fan expressed disbelief. "No, a broken ankle." The announcement transformed what many believed was a minor injury into a serious concern about Cunningham's availability for the season. The timing of this revelation proved particularly significant. Cunningham had just denied allegations the previous day regarding claims of an inappropriate relationship with Phoenix Suns CEO Josh Bartelstein. The injury announcement came amid this controversy, adding another layer to her absence from the Fever's early games. Cunningham sustained her ankle injury during the third quarter of the Fever's final preseason game on May 10th. She was seen limping off the court and later appeared wearing a protective boot. Initial reports labeled her as day-to-day, with head coach Stephanie White relying on the medical staff to guide the recovery process. The Fever took a conservative approach to Cunningham's rehabilitation. White emphasized the team's philosophy of prioritizing long-term health over immediate availability. She noted the importance of saving players from themselves, highlighting the balance between player enthusiasm and medical caution. Key recovery milestones showed steady progress. On May 16th, Cunningham won a half-court shooting contest, jumping without visible ankle discomfort. 3 days later, on May 19th, she participated in an open shoot-around, taking three-point shots and making passes without apparent limitations. White provided regular updates on Cunningham's status. Speaking to Indiana Fever beat reporter Scott Agnes on May 21st, she said, "I hope so. Obviously, we have to go through today with no setbacks, but I'm hopeful that she'll be able to be in uniform and be on the floor for us." The decision to upgrade Cunningham from questionable to available on May 22nd demonstrated the medical staff's confidence in her recovery. White confirmed that Cunningham would face no minutes restriction, signaling complete medical clearance. The Fever began the 2025 season with mixed results in Cunningham's absence. Their May 17th season opener against the Chicago Sky resulted in a dominant 93-58 victory. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell delivered standout performances that showcased the team's offensive capabilities. The May 20th game against Atlanta exposed areas needing improvement. The Fever suffered a narrow 91-90 defeat in a game that came down to the final seconds. Clark recorded 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists, but the team lacked the depth and defensive intensity that Cunningham typically provides. White's bench rotation during the Atlanta loss highlighted Cunningham's absence. She brought Damiris Dantas, Brianna Turner, Sydney Colson, and Lexi Hull off the bench, but only Hull logged significant playing time with 29 minutes. The other 3 players combined for fewer than 30 minutes, demonstrating the team's limited depth without Cunningham. The coaching staff recognized Cunningham's value beyond statistics. White had previously described her as definitely an X factor following her 21-point, 8-rebound preseason performance against Washington. She added,
"Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor."
Cunningham's basketball journey began when the Phoenix Mercury selected her 13th overall in 2019. She spent 6 seasons in Phoenix, developing into a key rotational player known for defensive intensity and three-point shooting ability. Her 2024 statistics with Phoenix demonstrated her versatility: 8.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.0 steals per game while shooting 42.9% from the field and 37.8% from three-point range. These numbers reflected her ability to contribute across multiple areas without demanding high usage rates. Cunningham's career peak came during the 2022 season when she averaged 12.6 points and 4.4 rebounds per game. She shot 44.9% from the field and 40% from three-point range that year, establishing herself as a reliable offensive contributor. Her playoff experience includes the 2021 WNBA Finals appearance with Phoenix. The Mercury valued Cunningham for qualities that extended beyond traditional statistics. Her physicality, defensive intensity, and willingness to take charges made her a valuable team player. Teammates and coaches consistently praised her toughness and competitive spirit throughout her Phoenix tenure. Cunningham's integration with the Fever began immediately during preseason play. Her debut against the Washington Mystics produced a statement performance: 21 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. This game occurred while Caitlin Clark sat out due to quad tightness, allowing Cunningham to showcase her ability as a primary offensive option. White praised Cunningham's debut performance, calling her a competitor and dog. The coach noted how Cunningham's entrance changed the game's momentum when the Fever had been struggling. Her preseason averages of 10.7 points and 4.2 rebounds hinted at her potential impact on the regular season roster. Kelsey Mitchell, Cunningham's new teammate, described her as someone who embodies effort and presence. Mitchell emphasized these qualities cannot be taught, highlighting Cunningham's natural leadership abilities and competitive drive. Even in games where Cunningham's scoring output was lower, her contributions remained visible. During the preseason game against Atlanta, where she scored 5 points, her defensive contributions and hustle plays stood out to coaches and teammates. Cunningham's return announcement came amid significant off-court controversy. A lawsuit filed by Gene Traylor, a Phoenix Suns security employee, alleged inappropriate behavior by team management. The lawsuit claimed that Cornelius Craig, the Suns' vice president of security and risk management, had spread rumors about CEO Josh Bartelstein having a relationship with Cunningham. Traylor's lawsuit specifically alleged that Craig had been telling people Josh Bartelstein is fucking Sophie Cunningham. Cunningham was mentioned only as an example of inappropriate behavior and was not named as a defendant in the case. Cunningham issued a strong denial on May 21st. Her statement read, "I am deeply saddened by the recent false accusations made against me by Gene Traylor, someone I do not know and have never met. Let me be clear, his statements are untrue and extremely hurtful." She continued, "I am here to compete, play basketball at the highest level, and win for my team and my fans, while inspiring other women that they can do or be anything they ever dream of becoming. I hold myself to the highest integrity, and my values are what guide me on and off the court." Cunningham also criticized media coverage of the allegations. To the media who reported on this, "I have always spoken the truth and been transparent with any press inquiry. In this instance, it feels irresponsible that I was never asked for a comment about the accusations before several clickbait stories went to print."
You can hear some groaning in the background. Clark sold it, but Howard got her hand on her hip. Oh, but Clark a missed free throw, so she's missed a couple here. And the lead at 2 with a minute to play.
Can you win a game when your best player doesn't hit a single three? The Fever did. And Caitlin Clark still made the difference. For the first time in her pro career, she didn't make a single three-pointer. That's right, 0. But here's the twist. Her team still won the game. How did that happen? And what does it mean for the most exciting young star in basketball? It was just one of those nights where things didn't go as planned. A game full of surprises, records, and reminders that even the best athletes can have a tough game sometimes. Caitlin Clark is not just an average basketball player. Since stepping into the WNBA, she's been on fire. She made at least one three-pointer in every single game of her career. That streak, 42 games long. No one else has done that to start a career in either the WNBA or NBA. But it didn't start there. Even in college, Clark was breaking records. Her last game without a made three came all the way back in 2022 when she played for Iowa. That's 140 games with a three in a row. This wasn't just a streak, it was part of who she was. Until now. The Indiana Fever were playing the Atlanta Dream at State Farm Arena, packed with nearly 17,000 fans. The crowd was loud, the energy was high, and everyone expected another classic Clark performance, but something felt off. Caitlin Clark missed her first three, then her second, then a third. Fans started to notice. She kept trying, but nothing went in. By the end of the night, she was 0 for 5 from deep. It was the first time in her WNBA career that she didn't hit a three-pointer. According to ESPN's Alexa Filippo, Clark finished 0 to 5 on threes tonight, her first career WNBA game without a made tray. She'd made a three in 42 straight games, the longest streak to begin a career in WNBA history. And just like that, the streak was over. Even with Clark struggling, the Indiana Fever didn't give up. This was a team game, and others stepped up. Natasha Howard played like a star, scoring 26 points and hitting big shots when they needed it most. Kelsey Mitchell hit a huge three-pointer late in the game. That shot gave the Fever the lead. Then, Clark made a smart pass to Aaliyah Boston for a layup. That play helped seal the win. It wasn't pretty, but the Fever pulled out an 81-76 win over the Dream. It showed they can still win, even when their biggest star has an off night. One report said, the bottom line is that Indiana got the win. It certainly wasn't their prettiest performance, especially compared with the game they had against the Chicago Sky. Things didn't get easier for Clark during the game. She got into foul trouble early in the third quarter. By the fourth, she had 5 fouls. One more, and she would have been out of the game. That made her play more careful, which isn't easy for a player known for taking big chances. You could see the frustration on her face, but even with the pressure, she stayed focused. She ended the game with 11.6 assists and 4 rebounds. Not bad for a tough night. Clark came very close to fouling out. The WNBA limit is 6, which also would have been an undesirable career first. Another source noted, the news spread fast. Fans couldn't believe it. Social media lit up with posts about Clark's missed shots and the end of her streak. ESPN even shared a stat showing just how rare this was. But most fans weren't angry. They were surprised but supportive. Everyone knows that even great players have rough games. This was just one of those nights. Some fans even said this made them respect her more. Why? Because even when she wasn't scoring, she helped her team win. That's what real stars do. So what does this all mean? Is Caitlin Clark slowing down? Not at all. In fact, this kind of moment happens to the best shooters. Remember Steph Curry? Even he has nights where the shots don't fall. What matters is how players respond. Do they give up? Or do they bounce back stronger? Clark's cold night doesn't change her talent. If anything, it shows her strength. She didn't quit. She kept passing, kept trying, and helped her team win. That's what makes a true leader. Next up, the Fever faced the New York Liberty. That team just broke the WNBA record for most threes in a game. So the pressure will be on. All eyes will be on Clark. Will she hit a three? Will she start a new streak? Fans can't wait to find out. It's a big test, but if we know one thing about Caitlin Clark, it's that she never backs down from a challenge. Clark wasn't the only big story that night. Over in New York, the Liberty made history of their own by hitting a record-breaking 19 three-pointers in a single regular season game. Natasha Cloud led with 4 made threes and 18 points overall. Meanwhile, Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky had her own shock moment, finishing without a single basket, something that hadn't happened since her college days. These moments remind us how unpredictable and exciting the WNBA is becoming. And Clark? She's still a huge part of that story. Caitlin Clark's three-point streak may be over, but her story is far from done. This game was a reminder that no one is perfect. Even stars have off nights, but great players find ways to help their teams no matter what. Clark did just that. And now, with even more fire, she gets ready for her next big moment. So don't count her out, because if history tells us anything, Caitlin Clark's next chapter might be her most exciting one yet. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark and everything happening in the WNBA. Got thoughts on the game or predictions for her next performance? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
Steph Curry was unfortunately quickly ruled out of tonight's game with what the Warriors are now calling a left hamstring injury. And in this video, we'll take a look.
Stephen Curry's devastating hamstring injury has just sent shockwaves through the entire NBA universe, and what's just been revealed has Golden State fans completely stunned. For years, the Warriors dynasty seemed unstoppable in the postseason until now. The 37-year-old superstar's absence from games 2 through 5 against Minnesota completely derailed Golden State's championship aspirations, leaving the basketball world wondering if we've just witnessed the final chapter of the most dominant team of the modern era. Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors' generational talent and cornerstone of 4 championship teams, created unprecedented concern when his hamstring suddenly gave out during Game 1 against the Timberwolves. Born from years of carrying an otherworldly offensive burden, this shocking injury revolutionized the Western Conference playoff picture by removing the Warriors' offensive engine just when they appeared poised for another deep playoff run, running Golden State's title hopes completely off the rails despite their promising series-opening victory. The implications of Curry's injury extended far beyond a simple first-round exit. This wasn't just another playoff disappointment, this was potentially the final meaningful playoff opportunity for a Warriors core that transformed basketball. After Minnesota took advantage of Curry's absence to eliminate Golden State in just 5 games, serious questions emerged about whether this Last Dance era featuring aging stars Curry, 37, Draymond Green, 35, and Klay Thompson, 35, has reached its painful conclusion. What makes Curry's hamstring injury particularly significant is the timing and context surrounding it. The Warriors entered the playoffs with renewed championship hopes after integrating young talent around their veteran core. Their Game 1 victory over Minnesota showcased their championship DNA in full effect, only to see those aspirations completely evaporate when Curry clutched his hamstring midway through the fourth quarter. His desperate attempts to continue playing only highlighted the severity of an injury that would ultimately doom Golden State's season. But wait, there is more. Curry's unfortunate injury aligns perfectly with a disturbing trend that has completely transformed this year's playoffs. Denver star Aaron Gordon played through a grade 2 hamstring strain in their Game 7 loss to Oklahoma City, while Boston's championship repeat hopes were instantly destroyed when Jason Tatum tore his Achilles in the final minutes of Game 4 against the Knicks. Milwaukee's Damian Lillard suffered the same devastating fate in the first round, completely reshaping the Eastern Conference landscape. The specific timing of Curry's injury arrives at a critical juncture for the Warriors organization. With Golden State's luxury tax bill reaching astronomical levels, difficult roster decisions loom large. Klay Thompson's free agency status creates additional uncertainty about whether this core group will ever compete together again, while Draymond Green's advancing age raises questions about his continued effectiveness. This hamstring injury didn't just end a playoff run, it potentially closed the door on basketball's most revolutionary dynasty. As health experts and basketball analysts have noted, Curry's injury demonstrates the brutal physical toll of modern NBA basketball. Having previously struggled with ankle injuries early in his career before transforming his body into one of the league's most durable stars, Curry acknowledged the frustration of suffering this injury at such a critical moment during his limited media availability. This unexpected vulnerability represents a shocking reminder that even the most carefully maintained athletes remain susceptible to the playoffs' intensified physical demands. The importance of this injury extends beyond Golden State's championship hopes into broader league-wide discussions about player health, with Aaron Gordon explicitly citing Curry's injury when pleading for additional rest days during the playoffs. The Warriors superstar has become the face of a growing movement challenging the NBA's compressed postseason schedule. Gordon's statement that "you saw it around the league like Steph with the hamstring, JT, big respect to Jason Tatum. There's guys all around the league that are just suffering fatigue-based injuries because the games are so closely stacked together," places Curry at the center of a critical player welfare debate. Curry's influence through this injury extends to reshaping the Western Conference power structure. His absence created the opportunity for Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves to advance beyond the first round, continuing their remarkable ascension into the conference finals. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City capitalized on Denver's Gordon-related limitations to reach the NBA's Final Four, signaling a dramatic power shift from established dynasties to emerging young contenders across both conferences. Even more shocking than the immediate playoff implications is the realization that Curry's injury might represent the conclusion of the NBA's most transformative era. What began with his first championship in 2015 evolved into a style of play that completely revolutionized basketball at every level. If this injury indeed marks the beginning of the end, basketball historians will forever identify the 2025 playoffs as the moment the Curry era began its inevitable decline after reshaping the sport's fundamental approach. The contrast between Curry's subdued injury exit and the league's emerging young stars couldn't be more dramatic. While Minnesota's Edwards declared himself the new face of the NBA after eliminating Golden State, and Oklahoma City's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dominated the defending champion Nuggets, Curry faced his basketball mortality in the training room rather than on the court. This passing of the torch moment wasn't supposed to arrive via injury, but rather through a proper championship showdown between generations. For those who truly understand the historical significance of the Warriors dynasty, Curry's hamstring injury represents far more than a single playoff disappointment. It potentially marks the conclusion of a revolutionary basketball philosophy that prioritized skill, movement, and shooting over traditional size and physicality. If this injury indeed accelerates Golden State's decline, the sport itself will continue feeling the ripple effects of Curry's influence long after his playing days conclude. The broader NBA community's reaction to Curry's devastating injury has split along predictable lines. Warriors fans mourn what might have been their final legitimate title opportunity, while critics point to the franchise's massive luxury tax investments and question whether the championship window had already closed. Social media exploded with debates about whether Curry's absence invalidates Minnesota's advancement and if the NBA's scheduling practices contributed to this injury epidemic. Through this shocking postseason development, Curry's story reveals the cruel unpredictability of sports and the razor-thin margins between championship glory and crushing disappointment. His journey from oft-injured prospect to basketball revolutionary to aging superstar contains lessons about persistence, innovation, and ultimately, the undefeated nature of time. From ankle surgeries to hamstring strains, Stephen Curry has experienced the complete spectrum of athletic triumph and heartbreak. As the NBA reacts to Stephen Curry's hamstring injury, focus shifts to his recovery and the Warriors' uncertain future. The key question now, is this a brief setback or the beginning of the end for basketball's most iconic dynasty? Do you think the Warriors can recover from this devastating blow to make one final championship run next season? Share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to our channel for more updates.
I think we've seen the last of Steph Curry as a champion in Golden State.
Stephen A. Smith stunned fans across the country when he called out the Golden State Warriors on national television.